Well, Donald Trump's picked to be the D.C. U.S. Attorney, that all important job right in the heart of the Capitol that's responsible for prosecutions of cases in the District of Columbia. Ed Martin, the Jan 6 supporter, the Stop the Steal activist, the election denier, the lawyer that represented dozens of Jan 6 defendants. The one, while he was the interim acting U.S. attorney, actually dismissed a case against his own client in breach of ethics and decided, Ed Martin did, that he would be the attack dog for Doge and Elon Musk. Also restructured the office, firing dozens of career prosecutors, decapitating the leadership, sending subordinates scattered. That Ed Martin, he ain't getting the job. He's not getting the job because of his support for Jan 6 activists, because for his support of the purge that Donald Trump is doing, because he called Jan 6 a day of love. Well, certain Republican senators didn't love that, including Judge Tom Tillis of North Carolina, who effectively said, I'm not going to vote him out of the committee because he's got to get out of the committee, the Judiciary Committee, which is 12 to 10, 12 Republicans, 10 Democrats. And if Tillis did what he said he was going to do, which is block it, not vote for it, it would have been an 11-11 tie, and Ed Martin's nomination would never have made it to the Senate floor for a vote. Knowing that, Donald Trump withdrew Ed Martin. He failed up. He gave him a number of other jobs I'm going to tell you about. He's crowing that he's now the eagle unleashed on social media. And get this, Judge Jeannine Piro, not a federal prosecutor, not a federal judge, an elected state county judge whose husband Albert was pardoned for tax evasion and conspiracy in the first Trump administration, and she's been on Fox since 2006. She's your new acting interim federal prosecutor for one of the elite prosecutor offices in the entire country in Washington. And I'm going to break it all down for you right here on Legal AF. How do we get here? Listen, I thought Ed Martin was talking loud, acted like he had the job before he had the job. Donald Trump gave him the position just after the inauguration. It's an acting interim until you are confirmed by the Senate. But Ed Martin acted like he had the job wrapped up and in his back pocket. He thought Donald Trump, with all of his MAGA influence, was going to make sure and grease the rails and get this guy the nomination or the confirmation. And so what did he do? He said he would continue to say things like Jan 6th was a day of love. Still talk about the election being stolen for Donald Trump. He said, I'm going to go after leakers that Pam Bondi has identified and try to prosecute journalists. This made a lot of people uncomfortable. He also said he was going to work closely with Doge and Elon Musk and find all the leaks related to Elon Musk visiting the Pentagon. He basically said, I'm going to be the attack dog for Donald Trump regardless of my ethics. He even, listen to this, he had represented a number of Jan 6th defendants. As acting U.S. attorney, after Donald Trump gave all those pardons, he, Ed Martin, dismissed the case himself against his own client. He jumped on the other side. He didn't even have one of his few remaining prosecutors do it for him. He did it. So we've all been up in arms about Ed Martin, but I'm telling you, this guy was acting and talking like he had this in the bag, wrapped up. Well, nobody lobbied properly Tom Tillis, because Tom Tillis basically said, look, if you nominated the guy for any other backwater U.S. attorney's office somewhere, I probably wouldn't object. But I despise anybody that broke into the Capitol on Jan 6th. I mean, leave it to Tom Tillis, a Republican, to finally break from the ranks and break from Donald Trump and call out the Jan 6ers as insurrectionists and not heroes and not patriots and not hostages. To Tom Tillis, that was a dark day in our history, and he said, I can't abide by having Ed Martin, a Stop the Steal activist, an election denier, a defender of the Jan 6 defendants, take that particular plum job, so I will not vote for him. Again, you got to get out of committee in order to get to a floor vote. And it's stuck in committee. It was going to be stuck in committee. 11-11. 11-11 doesn't do it. Donald Trump saw the writing on the wall and pulled the nomination. Now, he's given, apparently, Ed Martin, in terms of failing up, he gave Ed Martin a number of new jobs. He's going to be the head of the weaponization working group. Sounds interesting. By Pam Bondi, to get to the bottom of all the ways the Biden administration allegedly weaponized the Department of Justice. Again, once and for all. You can say a lot about Joe Biden. You can say a lot about Merrick Garland, but them working together to prosecute people was not one of them. But they're going to go keep that ghost alive with the weaponization working group. He's also apparently going to be the pardon attorney. So all these pardons, and Donald Trump's already pardoned more people in the history of the world than any other president. Okay, and he's only less than 100 days into his term. So now Ed Martin is going to turbocharge that. This guy's going to pardon. I said he's going to pardon like 4,000 people by the time he's out of office. So he's going to be the head of that. Now let's get to Jeannine Pirro at the back end of this hot take. And while we're doing the back end, take a minute and help the front end and help us continue to grow this pro-democracy channel. Hit the subscribe button, and then you can come over to our Substack, where we've also posted all of the filings that we talk about here on Legal AF. I post them there on Legal AF Substack. Come over there, subscribe, help us grow that community as well. Let's get to Jeannine Piro. It's hard to believe. Jeannine Piro and her husband are an interesting pair. It's Albert Pirro and her. Albert Pirro is a businessman who was convicted of tax evasion and conspiracy, right up Donald Trump's alley. Sounds like somebody he would have shared a jail cell with had Donald Trump not commuted the sentence, actually gave a pardon in the waning hours of the first Trump administration to Albert Pirro. It was really just repaying a debt, because Jeannine Pirro is a Trump sycophant bootlicker of the first order, big promoter on Fox. And here we go, somebody right off the couch of a Fox News show or a Fox opinion show being given a high-level position in the Trump administration. Didn't he learn his lesson with Pete Hegseth, the weekend anchor of Fox and Friends, maybe not qualified to run the Pentagon? Nope. And let me just divide the world here. And I'm all for judges, state and federal, who are ethical. But she was never a federal law clerk. She was never a federal U.S. attorney. She was never a federal prosecutor. She was never a federal judge. At the best you can say about Judge Pirro is that she worked in Westchester County, New York. Okay, it's a cushy little place to work, where she ran as a county court judge. She was a district attorney for Westchester, state court, not federal. And that's it. And then went on the Fox bench, 20 years ago. And her husband was busy doing things that got him convicted of tax fraud and conspiracy. And she was close to getting convicted herself. There was a deal, I'm sure, that was cut, but her husband got nailed. Now, Pirro is also, besides a primary cheerleader and part of Donald Trump's public relations team over at Fox News, also got caught up in the lies about Stop the Steal and the election fraud that Donald Trump was alleging, and all of the Smartmatic and Dominion voting systems defamation cases against Fox. She was actually sued by Smartmatic in a $2.7 billion defamation case, much the way that Lou Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, Tucker Carlson, and others were sued at Fox News. So she is, she's got some dirty hands, is what I'm trying to say. Now, she's the acting interim, the way that Alina Habba is the acting interim U.S. attorney in New Jersey. What he's doing is, until he can get people to take these jobs, because nobody really wants to work for the Trump administration, he's kind of recycling his bench of loyal supporters. Who's more loyal than Alina Habba? Who's more loyal than Jeannine Pirro? So put them in as the acting interims until he can get around to getting anybody confirmed through the U.S. Senate. Because in order to have a permanent job, you have to have this. You have to have a confirmation by the Senate. Now, the way around it that we've talked about at length is that Donald Trump could wait for the recess, right? It's like recess in school, recess for the Senate. When the Senate takes off for a holiday, 2 or 3 days, boom, he could do a recess appointment and then keep them in place for a period of time, for up to a year before they have to be confirmed. And we know Donald Trump's sleazy that way. So either Alina Habba and Jeannine Pirro are just high profile, arm candy, placeholders until Donald Trump can get around to finding anybody of talent to take the job, or he's going to try to use the recess appointment at some point. We'll keep an eye on it to give these people a permanent run of a year or two. They just serve that purpose. They're going to be pit bulls. They're going to be media savvy. They give interviews. I mean, we never heard from Merrick Garland, and people are upset about that. Well, now you have Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, Alina Habba, and Jeannine Pirro soon, who won't shut up. Which do you like better? See, I like my justice quiet. I like my justice do your job. I like my justice complying with the DOJ manual, of which Jeannine Pirro has not a whit of experience with, right? She's basically allergic to the Department of Justice manual. She's probably reading it right now because she's never had to deal with it as a county prosecutor and a county judge. Just shows you, whenever you hear Donald Trump say the best and the brightest, these are the best people for the job, she's so talented and qualified, just think the opposite. It's like the opposite game on Seinfeld. Whatever George Costanza said, I'll just do the opposite of what my thoughts are. And oh my God, it's working. It's like Trump. Just when you hear that, just do Popok translate. It means they're not qualified for the job. Well, we're qualified to be together, talk truth to each other here on Legal AF. I'm glad you're here. Hit the subscribe button. We're continuing our drive to 700,000 subscribers. We're going to hit that in the month of May with your help. And until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.